right, well, let's get started since I want to make the best use of everybody's time. I may pause occasionally to promote a couple more people. And if you could please.
We do what we can to assist them. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Margaret. Thanks for being here today. And Brian, I think you were also an early saying hello.
I am the silver medalist here. Yes. I'm Brian Weisfeld. I'm the founder of the Startup Squad Foundation. The Startup Squad is inspired by my daughters, a book series that I created a few years ago to inspire girls to open up their first lemonade stand or bake sale or other business, and to empower them to start to think like entrepreneurs. We've done a lot of work with charities to run programs to inspire girls in underserved communities, and we recently set up our own foundation to do a lot more of that towards the tail end of last year. And so thanks for the opportunity for having us.
Awesome. Thanks, Brian. And Rona.
Hi, I'm Rona Broderick. I'm with the YMCA Project Cornerstone. I'm the Development and Communications Coordinator. So one of my roles is working on grants, and we're happy to have been a partner with this foundation for many years. We provide essentially social and emotional lessons to students from preschool through 8th grade. And we also provide parent workshops and school staff training. So I'm thankful to be here, and it's nice to see everyone.
Awesome. Thanks, Rona. Anne, would you go next, please?
Hey, good morning, everyone. I am Ann Ersman, and I'm the Interim Executive Director of Project Cornerstone. And I see so many friends on this call. Thanks for bringing us all together today. And CHAC is a mental health provider that's been around for 50 years, located in downtown Mountain View, partnering with school districts and also providing family resource centers from all the way from Mountain View down into West San Jose. So thanks, everyone.
Absolutely. Good morning. Carmen, would you go next, please?
Hello, this is Carmen Roman. I am located in San Jose, and I am the CEO of the nonprofit Emotions in Harmony. And in Emotions in Harmony, we provide psychotherapy to families and mainly Latino communities and couples, and we do podcasting and YouTube.
Thank you, Carmen. And I see Rosa Estela is here as well from Emotions in Harmony. You can say good morning.
Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm from Mexico City and I'm working with Carmen too. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. And Sue, would you go next, please?
Sure. My name is Sue Boyce. I am the founder of Youth Drama for All, and it is a theater group for both special needs and general ed students. Our age range is preschool, and since we've been doing this for 16 years now, we have young adults who are, I'd say our oldest is early 30s now. So we have quite a wide range. What we hear time and time again is that our special needs kiddos didn't have any friends until they joined Youth Drama for All. Also joining me on this meeting today is Lynette Liu. She's been helping us this year and she's been awesome. So she's another set of ears for me here today as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Sue. So happy that you're here. Evelyn, would you
Thank you.
please go next?
Of course. Hi, my name is Evelyn Kilmia. I'm dialing in from Palo Alto, California. I am the founder and the executive director of the KSP, and here we work with families who live in RVs outside of safe parking space. We work in the sphere of education. We provide them with educational support. We connect them to services like the ones you guys are providing, mental health services and support, housing services, and so on and so forth. And it's a pleasure. It's my first time coming to a meeting with the Los Altos Community Foundation, and I am very excited to be here. I have Barbara Winston and Erica Wadsworth, who are with me as other sets of ears as well, so we can take notes. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Thank you. And we are recording this session, so we'll have that up as well. So
Perfect.
just wanted to
Thank you.
provide everybody the opportunity to be in community. Good morning, Carol. Come say hi.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Carol Olson. I'm the Executive Director of Mentor Tutor Connection, which has been in the community for 26 years. And we recruit and train and support volunteers from the community to be caring adults in the lives of young people. They tutor kindergarten through 8th grade in Mountain View and Los Altos public schools, so students who wouldn't otherwise have access to tutoring outside of the school. And we provide mentors in all 3 high schools in Mountain View, Los Altos high school districts. So just another caring adult in the life of a student who's facing significant challenges in their lives. So thank you for having me. Thank you, Carol.
Janet, if you could please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Janet Lees. I work with the Hayes Group, and we are fundraising consultants, and I'm here representing Palo Alto University, and we provide free mental health services to the community, families, children, and super excited to be with all of you and hear more about the opportunity.
Great, thank you, Jane. Thank you, Janet. And let's next go to, and I'm sorry, I apologize in advance if I mangle your name, Rocky?
It's Rocky. Oh, close.
Rocky. Okay, nice.
Nice to meet you. Very excited to be here. I work with Anne at CHAC. I'm the new development director, and I'm really excited to continue our partnership with the LAMVCF.
Excellent. Thank you for being here. And Barbara, I didn't know if you wanted to say a quick hi. I think you said work with Janet. If you're not in a spot where you can, that's fine too. I see a volunteers. I don't know. Diane.
Hi.
Diane might not be. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I'm going through TSA at an airport, but this is Diane Parnes. I'm an LAMVCF board member and on the grants committee as well, and just here to listen and support Nadja, and thank you all for what you do in the community. So I'm just listening in. Thanks.
Thanks, Diane, for being here. Appreciate it. And Dora.
Morning, everyone. I'm Dora Wong, board member for AWE, Asian Women Empowered. We are a newly formed volunteer-run group that focuses on civic engagement, leadership development, and mutual support for Asian American Pacific Islander women in the Silicon Valley area. And we're happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Great, thanks, Dora. Elizabeth, please.
Hi, good morning. I'm Elizabeth Mendez. I'm the Youth Services Unit Coordinator for the Mountain View Police Department, and I also work with Mountain View PAL, our Police Activities League. The Police Activities League is a nonprofit organization that's aimed to providing mentorship and activities for the youth in Mountain View, helping to bridge the gap between police officers and our youth.
Great, thanks for being here today. Erica, if you could go next, please.
Yes, hi. I'm here with the Carrot School Project with Evelyn and Barbara, and I'm calling in from San Diego. I'm a social worker by training, and I'm kind of shifting more into the nonprofit fundraising world, so happy to be here.
Excellent, thank you. Keenan, if you're available, please go next.
Good morning. My name is Keenan Mose. I'm the founder, or one of the co-founders of Justice Vanguard. We are an education-based nonprofit that started in 2020, and we have programs that we run with a few local high schools and elementary schools that are focused on teaching our histories as well as building community. And so that's kind of through that lens is our focus on mental health and kind of building supportive communities. So happy to be here and see a lot of awesome people on this call.
Thanks, Keenan. Maria.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for having me and having everybody around. So I work for the day labor community since 1999 here in Mountain View, California. And as I mentioned, the day workers is my area of expertise. And I have been noticing tremendous impact in their emotional health. And I believe we can change that if we are working together. And this is a very good place to start. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. I don't believe Lynette has spoken yet. You wouldn't mind saying hi?
Hi, everybody. Thank you. So this is Lynette, and I am working with Sue on Youth Drama for All. And you know, it's a really great organization. Sue already gave a description of what the organization does. So I will just let everybody know I'm here with Youth Drama for All.
Wonderful, thank you. And Mike, could you go next, please? Mike might not be available for speaking, so I'll move on to Gianna.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Oh, good. Yeah, go ahead. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Having poor connection over here, but I'm Gianna Prezioli, and I work at Hidden Villa. It's a small nonprofit in Los Altos Hills, and we provide outdoor education for youth and connect them to nature and the healing properties of nature, in addition to growing produce for food insecure families. A little bit about what we do. Thanks for having us.
Cool. Thanks so much. Just want to see if I've missed anybody who's able to come off of mute. Go ahead, speak up.
This
Sorry.
is Barbara Weinstein. I was on mute a little earlier. I just wanted to say I'm with the Carrot School Project with Evelyn and Erica, and it's great to be here.
Great, thanks for being here. Anybody else who needs to introduce? If not, we can move on to questions.
Hi, my name is Kanika Kansara. I'm the program manager at the Eating Disorders Resource Center. We have support groups, weekly support groups for people in the community, and then we have a helpline, and we train providers, therapists, doctors, dietitians about eating disorder care.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, so we can go ahead and get started. Thank you everybody for being here and for introducing yourselves. Looks like we just have one more person who just came in. So I'll put Monica on the spot. Hello, Monica, and thanks for being here. We just finished introductions. We're about to go into any questions that people have, but wanted to give you a chance to say hi. Feel free to take yourself, put yourself on video and take yourself off of mute and say hi to the group.
Hi, Monica Ponce with Youth Community Service. Here for my senior program manager, and we do teen suicide prevention and substance abuse prevention through youth-led service learning projects in Mountain View, Los Altos, and the surrounding communities. Great to be here, see some very familiar names in the community. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Well, again, thanks everybody for taking some time out of your day to be here. As I said, one of our goals of having these Q&A sessions is to continue to build community among and between our nonprofit organizations, whether they're grantees or community partners. As you mentioned, many of you already know each other and already work with each other, but we're hoping to just shed some light on continue to shed light on the crisis of youth mental health, which is the reason that our Community Grants Committee raised this as our most pressing priority for the spring. So today's Q&A is really for you to ask whatever questions you might have, whether it's about the grant process or anything that's not clear on the grant application itself. We can, step through any questions that you might have. Some of them I'll be able to answer, some of them I'll need to bring back to the Community Grants Committee. So just briefly, in case anyone does not know, our discretionary grant funds are distributed, the recommendations for how we distribute those in the community are made by a community-based grant-making committee. So we have 13 members of the community. Some of them are members of our board, like Diane. Some of them are other community members. Our goal is to represent community voices to help set priorities. So there we go. With that said, anybody have any questions? Get us started. Or what brought you here today? Yes, go ahead, Rona. Go ahead.
I thank you. On the application, I noticed that you are seeking a letter of support from a school partner. I'm wondering if a copy of our MOU, our contract with them counts, or if you want actually a separate letter written by them.
Oh no, that's totally fine. Absolutely, an MOU. That's a great idea for us to just make that a clarification in the help. Yeah, this is why we're recording this, so I don't have to try to take notes and remember things at the same time. So yes, we'll make that specification that an MOU is sufficient.
Okay, and it would be an MOU that we have for this current school year, but we can also indicate if we expect to continue to have that partnership, which we do going into the fall of the next school year. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just more that we wouldn't want to allocate grant funding for something that somebody has an idea about, but hasn't actually gotten buy-in from the schools to actually come in, come in and do it. So, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Any other questions I can bring up or key dates? Yeah.
I have a question.
Sure.
When I was looking in the guidance, it said that generally amounts are from 1,000 to 5,000. Is that pretty accurate?
Historically, that has been pretty accurate. Every so often, there's a particular project or program that the grants team feels, needs to be more specifically supported. For example, last spring, Community Services Agency. So last spring, our focus was on the needs of vulnerable senior citizens in the community. And Community Service Agency, CSA, that many of you may know, it turned out their staff were using their personal vehicles for transportation purposes to pick up senior citizens, take them to their appointments, deliver supplies, things like that. And there was just a lot of wear and tear. And so we contributed the funds needed to purchase a vehicle that was specifically for senior citizens. So that's obviously more than $5,000, but it was a very, specific, particular purpose. So there's no penalty for requesting more funding. And if that's kind of part of the question, it's just more that we try to set expectations so that, you know, we feel we have a fairly streamlined grant application.
Yeah.
And part of it is so that we kind of right size the amount of effort that it takes to complete the application, understanding that it's not going to be a huge amount that's funded, just limitations of our budget.
Right. What is the average number of organizations that usually get the award? Is there?
I don't know that it's really interesting. There have been years pre-pandemic where we got 20 to 30 applications. But since the pandemic, we've been getting more on the order of 50 to 60 applications, which again is another reason to make the application really straightforward so that we can, you know, just have an understanding of what is the amount of impact that each organization, each program is planning to have on our immediate community, you know. So, you know, we are prescribed to prioritize support for organizations that operate and serve clients in Los Altos Hills, and Mountain View.
Okay, I just have one more question, then I'm done.
Course.
Is there an advantage to partnering with another organization?
Oh, you mean coming in with a specific project?
Yeah.
I actually with that one I would definitely need to get back to you on.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can send an email if you have something specific in mind.
Okay.
You can send an email and I can always pass it along to committee even before grant applications are in.
Okay.
To get some feedback.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That makes I'm like, now I kind of want to know all about it. Yeah, Brian.
Yeah, I had a question. How narrow is or broad is your definition of mental health? For example, you know, there are groups that are specifically doing mental health support, but there are other groups on this call that are, you know, helping kids with their mental health through theater or entrepreneurship or physical activity. Are those fall into your definition?
As far as my understanding of what the committee is wanting to prioritize, it would be yes. I mean, I think you would need to, you know, draw a pretty direct line between what you're doing, whether that's you are doing, you know, interviews with your clients or register, you know, some sort of way of measuring what it is that you're doing and the impact on the clients, on the youth. Some of that might be, you know, fairly subjective, right? It's just, I really look forward to coming to these sessions. It's the thing that I look forward to in my week. You know, I was having a rough week before I got, you know, those kinds of things, right? If you have testimonials that kind of help paint the picture of why your service is vital for the youth, and that you're specifically building a program that will help boost their self-esteem, kind of keep them occupied, keep them, you know, off of whatever, either, I don't want to prescribe what your service might be doing or something, but is that helpful? Does that answer your question? Or yeah,
it does. Yes, thank you.
We are looking for organizations who directly provide services to youth. So not necessarily things that provide benefits to parents, even though obviously we understand the mental health of parents has a direct bearing on the mental health of the youth, as we all know. But again, we really very specifically picked youth, and that was even before the CDC came out with their analysis of the crisis over the last 10 years. And specifically in the last 3 to 4. So, yeah. Who else? Yes.
Hi, I'm not familiar with WebEx, so I don't know if I could raise my hand, but I had a question. Can I go next or somebody else before me?
Rocky, it's Anne, and I was going to ask a question, so you go first because we're from the same organization, and then I'll piggyback. How about that?
Yeah, we're probably going to ask the same question. Najab, my question is, does the foundation have a preference for funding program-specific activities, or would you fund an unrestricted supporting the operating expenses?
We would support unrestricted, general operating support if it's an organization that's specifically for youth.
Okay.
So I think that would be the focus, right? So if you have youth in your name, if that's your primary focus, if that's your primary activity, then absolutely general operating support would be appropriate. I think otherwise, if it's we love providing general operating support when we can. That's what we do in the fall. That's all general operating support. In the spring, as long as the organization's primary area of impact is youth and mental health services for youth, then absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So if I can piggyback onto what
Sure.
Raki just asked, and thank you, Raki, for asking about general operating support. I think that's great. I appreciated Janet's questions, and then Brian as well, because there are so many different, the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 supports. There could be a lot of youth that are touched with prevention versus high impact one-on-one counseling, right? And so that the sort of the question, and you don't have the answer, but it's just my observation, right? 5,000 for each of us is just sort of will make a difference, but it with a high intervention model, it will pay for a limited amount of services. So it'll be interesting for your committee to, I think, have those conversations, right, around the prevention, which can sort of go broad and wide, versus intervention models that are going to sort of cost more money, but will very much have measurable impact as well. So I appreciate this conversation a lot as we think about how we might apply. And the partnership question, I think, is a good one. And there was in the chat, I think Diane asked the question, can an organization submit their own application plus another one with a partner org? So that's an interesting nuance. I don't know if you have the answer to that, but I'll elevate Diane's question as well.
Yeah. That's another one with a partner. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Sorry, I'm monitoring, just make sure we had a couple of attendees come in at the last minute. So thank you, Anne. Those are great questions, and I definitely will bring those back to the committee. And Barbara, I see your hand up. I'll get to you in just one second. I just wanted to say hi to Adine Miller, who's the CEO of Los Altos Mountain View Community Foundation, who just popped in. Adine, I don't know if you've gotten to hear any of the questions yet, but feel free to say hi or give any illumination that you might, there he is in our conference room, illumination that you might have when you get a chance. But I'm going to let Barbara ask her question, and then we'll keep going. Hi, Barbara.
I was inspired by the previous questions and just wondering, you mentioned that you have a multiple times a year cycle for granting. And I was just wondering, is it generally a similar amount, the total amount that you have to grant in those different periods throughout the year?
In general, yes. In general, yes. One of the goals that we have in soliciting grant applications, both for general operating support and then program specific or focus specific, is that we love to, when we can, to put organizations and programs in front of our donor advised fund advisors, with the idea that we're wanting to elevate for people. If we know that mental health is a specific focus for them, or youth is a specific focus for them, we'd love to be able to, bring these really interesting grant opportunities to the donor advised funds to hopefully, kind of beef up those grant awards when we can. So it's sort of a roundabout way of answering that, but yes, we have a limited discretionary budget, but then again, we do have donor advised funds at the foundation, so we do what we can to kind of graciously nudge people in the direction of what we feel the community priorities are.
Thank you. If I can tack on just one more quick thing. If it's an organization, you talk about Mountain View, Los Altos, and Los Altos Hills. But if it's an organization that serves those part of those areas, but also a little bit more broadly, how do you view something like that?
So we've added a more specific geographically focused section of the application where we ask approximately how many clients located in Mountain View, Los Altos, and Los Altos Hills will you serve, and approximately what percentage of your overall clientele is that, right? So that kind of helps us understand. Obviously, we know a lot of programs are regionally focused, right? Someone like Hidden Villa, they have, you know, people who visit from all over, campers who come from all over, programs from all over. But to the extent that you can or that you do collect any kind of demographic information, we'd love to understand, you know, how many of our local residents are impacted, positively impacted by the programs you have. Does that help?
It does. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Hank. So you can kind of see the, we've added some nuances to specifically understand. Again, this is helpful if we are elevating a specific program or organization to a donor advised fund advisor. You know, if they have a specific focus, they only want to support organizations that have impact in Mountain View, we can kind of say, oh, well, you know, this organization really prioritizes that kind of thing. So all of the information is helpful, and we want to become advocates for you as well. Any other questions or anything that's not clear on the application? If you've had a chance to look, and you can always follow up with an email to me. I'm going to put my email in the chat, so you can feel free to email me directly. There we are. And Adine, do you want to come off and say hello? Come off of mute and say hello.
I will gladly say hi. I'm not sure what I can contribute at this point, but I'm happy to answer questions along the ways. Delighted to see so many different boxes, most of them on video mute. So I actually can read certain names, but delighted to see so many people here. And looking forward to seeing what's on your mind with either this conversation or the grants that might come in.
Thanks, Adine. Appreciate
Thanks,
it. Yeah, Margaret, you had a question.
Yes, thank you. These were all very good questions. I've known about the Community Foundation for decades, but it's my first time joining you. I'm wondering, you mentioned the donor advised funds. Approximately how much in total of those funds are given annually out?
How many donor advised?
How much? Yeah, and yeah, in total, how much funds? Because I'm figuring 1,000 to 5,000 through this regular one that's open now, and probably I think you're doing it 2 times a year. So I can put the totals together, but the donor advised funds, about how much money from that is going out to nonprofits annually?
I'm going to answer this now. Just say our donor advised fund holders will make grant recommendations that sometimes eclipse $1 million, sometimes they don't, but they generally go out. I think the challenge of any donor advised fund supporting organization, which is what we are, is that our donor advised fund holders don't necessarily give to our local community. They give to the priorities that they've identified for themselves. And some of them will give to institutions and issues that are not ones that we are necessarily able to support locally.
Right.
So whether, they might be giving to their universities, alma maters and so on, which are not going to be here, for instance. We have a relationship with our donor advised fund holders. We recommend and suggest subjects for them to look at locally, but we can't force them to fund locally.
Sure. Oh, I understand that. Yeah, I'm familiar with that donor advice. I'm just thinking through your recommendations, you have an estimate, a rough figure of, with your recommendation, about how much of that is given out annually?
Yeah, I would say we probably can't. Yeah, sorry, you're cut off a little, and I apologize if I overstated the opportunity. It was more so that you understand why we're asking the specificity of some of the questions. Both it's priority for our community grants committee. It's a stipulation of the funding that we get for the community grants, but because there are also opportunities to highlight to the larger organization as well as to our to the larger community as well as to our local organizations and our DAF holders. So for example, we'd like to be able to come out at the end of this grant cycle and write about and talk to the community about what it looks like locally in terms of youth mental health, and enlist everyone to contribute their time, talent, and treasure to helping solve some of the issues out there, right? So we might be able to highlight organizations that are doing specific work, that are looking for volunteers, that are looking for board members, that are looking for everybody. We always need fundraising, but maybe they need help with grant writing. Maybe there's other opportunities for the community to contribute in some way. So that's part of the reason why we, ask for a little narrative. It's why part of the reason that we ask for some numbers is because we're trying to get an overall picture of what is happening in this specific focus area.
That's excellent. Thank you. It's just, to be honest with you, for a small nonprofit, $1,000 to $5,000, it will do nothing. But for a larger nonprofits, I think anything can add up to strengthen a larger nonprofit. So up to $5,000. But for a nonprofit, small one, it's very difficult to do much with it.
We understand, and that's again, we're doing what we can to streamline the grant application as much as possible, so that there isn't as large of a barrier to be able to send the information. We welcome if you have grant reports that have been written for other organizations that have given you significant funding, or an annual report. We absolutely accept that in terms of here's what our impact is, here's what it looks like, here's our testimonials, rather than writing something specifically for us. We absolutely welcome if you've got something that was already prepared for a larger funder. We completely understand that. We, as much as possible, try to say, just link us to your website, link us to your, any other things that have been written up, articles that have been written about your organization or where you've been quoted, things like that. So we know that a tremendous amount of effort goes into how to represent your organization in the best possible light. And we don't want you to have to redo any of that or customize any of that, except when it comes to the, geographical questions.
Thank you.
So yeah, absolutely. Sue.
Yeah, Margaret, I appreciate your comments there. We are a very small nonprofit as well. I think the difference, I just have a slightly different viewpoint, and I agree with you about the amount awarded. However, for us at this point, again, I'm with Youth Drama for All. We feel like we're a sinking ship at this point, since the pandemic, along with everyone else. So any amount is actually probably going to keep our head above water. An example is we get our revenue basically from our registration fees and either our live show or now our film. And last year, we were just surviving with a $35 revenue on one of our shows. So it's really grim for us right now. And so from my perspective, we are any little bit will help our small nonprofit.
Thank you, Sue. I appreciate that. Carmen, was that your hand? Sorry. Yeah. Hi. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I agree with Sue. Any small or big number really helps when we are in the nonprofits. I am debating between if I get like, let's say $1,000 or $5,000 to help, to deeply help one family, or to stretch a little more and help a couple families. Yeah. So is the grant care if it's one family and it's a very well grading case? Why? Or is numbers important in the grant? And numbers.
That's a very good question. I think I'd feel more comfortable. Let me go back to the committee for that one in terms of, so you're talking about breadth versus depth. So affecting, more numbers versus deeply affecting, more strongly affecting and supporting,
Correct.
one particular individual. Let me go back to the committee with that question. I think that's a really good one. And I think it's particularly relevant here when you're talking about mental health, because we all know that we know what it costs for individual intervention, individual services, culturally competent services, making sure that you're providing the level of support that's appropriate when you're talking about, direct services, which is one of the many service things that Emotions in Harmony provides. So yeah. So I'll put that down on my list of things to ask the committee about. Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Anything you all want to say to each other?
Well, I win, Carmen, just for a little bit. Well, when you said anything that you want to say to each other, so that brings me this opportunity to thank you, all of you, for everything that you are doing. And I just driving this morning, I was thinking like the stress that the nonprofit sector employees or servers handle. It should be considered like a professional something. I don't know how to say it, but yeah, it's a lot of things that we carry in our shoulders, and I just want to share that with you, and just telling each of you like you are my heroes, and we have our back to each other, and hopefully it's time to working more as a team, collaboration, and maybe $1,000 could be multiplied for 12,000 if we work together. And yeah, so thank you.
Thank you.
I too reiterate that feeling and feedback. It's great to see all these nonprofits here, and the amazing work that everyone's doing. It kind of lifts me up just to see that our community is, everyone's trying to help out and do what they can. And anyway, thank you for holding this. I appreciate all the positive information and this opportunity, and it's so great hearing everybody's stories and all the work that everyone's putting into this. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Evelyn, I see your hand up.
I want to.
Yes, thank you, Naja. Echoing all the sentiments. The first time I met with the leader of the Los Altos Community Foundation, we were completely working outside of this whole continent, and we started serving the RV community in early 2020. And it's been a question within the community. Have you talked to the Los Altos Community Foundation? So we're definitely excited to start this. And I echo what all of you said in terms of creating spaces like this for all nonprofit sides to be able to know each other and collaborate, because one of the ways that we keep costs limited over here is to playing the bridge to connect with the already existing services that are out there. So it's always a pleasure. I see a few partners here. YCS is here. Carol, please check your note. I just send you something because we need something from you guys. Anyways, again, just to say this is a needed space. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. And we look forward to collaborating.
Absolutely. Thank you, Evelyn. Thanks for the work that you do. Margaret, looks like you wanted to say something.
Seems like we're all on the same page about getting together for collaboration reasons. I really appreciate this, and I learned about new agencies that I've not heard of. I'm here for everyone who needs any support with crime victims. And I know youth emotional issues, being victims of crimes, and I'm an expert in bringing state and federal resources through the victim compensation programs. I know a lot about it. So if any one of you have any questions, feel free to connect me. My information are public, and it's Mothers Against Murder. Thank you all. Thank you, Nejda, for organizing this.
Yeah, and absolutely. And feel free if you want to just, as a shortcut, put any of your contact information in chat. Feel free to do that if you are open to this group sharing that. We won't share it, beyond, beyond our organizations. But we're not publishing the chat. We'll just, but we'll publish this this recorded session. Clean it up a little bit. Not that we need to clean it up a lot, but Hank and I were chit-chatting beforehand, things like that. So, I see that Jim joined us. Sorry, Jim, I didn't notice when you first joined. I didn't know if you wanted to say hi and introduce yourself and talk a little bit about Kara.
Sure. Let's see if it's working.
We can hear you.
Great. I'm just
You are. Hi, Jim.
trying to find, just the layout is different, right?
We can see you now.
Yeah, just thanks for letting me introduce myself, Naja. I'm Jim, and I oversee CARA, which we provide bereavement support for the community, and been around since the late 1970s. And we provide peer-based grief support as well as therapeutic support for the community. And we have a youth and family program. We operate a bereavement camp in the summer for a weekend, and we provide grief groups for kids throughout the year as well. And we also have services for adults and seniors too. So it's sort of a full spectrum, and have a staff right now of about 17, about 200 volunteers. I've been leading the agency since the fall of 2013. So I guess I'm a little bit long in the tooth when it comes to nonprofit leaders, so they say, but I really enjoy leading the agency. It brings me a lot of meaning, and I personally volunteer for the camp every summer and facilitate one of our groups as well. So it's good work. So I'm glad to be able to be here, and thank you for what the foundation does in supporting our community, whether it be, and I think one of the things I've noticed, I know some of the comments folks have said, we're under 2 million, so I guess we're a small nonprofit still. But the 5,000, 10,000, 3,000 grants add up, and I like it when the barriers for the proposals and reports are minimized, which I really believe the Los Altos Mountain View Foundation has done a great job in that. So thank you for helping us make it as seamless as possible. That makes a big difference when you're writing a lot of different proposals on a regular basis. So thanks.
Thanks, Jim. And I just want to highlight and elevate that you also provide language specific support. Is that right?
Yeah. So yeah, it's about 6 years ago we started our Spanish services program, and we've built that program up for. We have almost 30 volunteers in that. So we provide culturally attuned, Spanish language services for people who are monolingual Spanish speakers, as well as we do have volunteers that also a limited capacity that speak some Mandarin, Cantonese, Hindi. So we're trying to build those other components, and much of what we rely on is our volunteers. So we're trying to expand that a bit. But our Spanish program, last year we served close to 500 folks in that program. And it's really a one-of-a-kind program, which has had a real great amount of success since we launched it. Yeah.
Thanks, Jim. Just wanted to bring that up because one of the things that it sounds like everyone's getting from this conversation is understanding what other services are out there so that you can kind of help refer out, and that it's not all on any one organization's shoulders to provide all of the services that are needed, you know, for the health of our community. So, yeah. Are there any other? Yes, go ahead, Monica.
And I just wanted to plug, Cara has an open mic night coming up. We advertise the event. Our youth peer program works with Cara, so check out, it's local.
That's great. Thank you. Good. I love it. We should all be plugging each other's programs and services and all that kind of thing. Yes, Carmen.
I can see it's hard to see the little hand. I want to say
So in fact,
I want to say thank you to the Los Altos, especially you, Nadia, in front of everybody, because it's not only the money, like you were saying, it's not only the grants. I have received emotional support and advice and companionship during this process. Our nonprofit is very young. We just have 5 years this week. So it has been the first 5 years of surviving, yeah. But it has been really useful to connect with other
probably already
organizations,
been there, but
help. And I left you a link to 21 videos that we did on resilience. They are very well researched and very well presented with Rosestella and I, and it was funded by the community, the Los Altos community, in 2020. So for you guys who have Spanish services, it's going to be a really useful link.
right.
It's like 21 videos. Thank you.
And your videos are, yeah, those are in Spanish, but you also have a newsletter that you send out, you have a podcast, all of those kinds of things. So for those of you who particularly serve a Spanish speaking population, Emotions in Harmony is another resource that's available on the web.
Yeah, we have all the information. The Sereno group, for example, asked for a playlist that they can play in the waiting room when they have Spanish speaking clients, and that could be a playlist for that.
That's great. Thank you. Anyone else? We'll probably close out right around 11 o'clock, but if there's anybody else who wants to share an announcement or make a comment or ask a question, as I said, my email address is there if you have questions after this. And I just want to, thank and acknowledge all of you for taking the time out of what is obviously everyone's busy schedules. I know some of you are staff, some of you are also wear volunteer hats for your organizations and for the communities that you serve. So I just wanted to say thank you.